Hi guys, day 4 continues with our policy pack. Thank you again for taking the time to review and purchase our documents. We do really appreciate it, and we do continue to hope that we can help you with your journey to WHS compliance. So day 4 today being risk management. As you would have gone through with your free documents, you have your risk management procedure and checklist. The 3 policies you have here today are quite important to that process. The first one being your workplace inspection procedure. That's quite important because obviously as part of risk management you're undertaking inspections within the workplace to make sure that any hazards are identified, controlled. So under those 4 steps we went through before, identify, assess, mitigate and review to make sure that those mitigation processes are still working. So obviously the first part of that is to do the workplace inspection. In a lot of times the inspection can take place during normal working hours. Obviously in an office or anything, doing that inspection is not really going to cause any problems to the people working there. However, if you need to do your inspection in a factory, especially if there's hot work going on there, or if there's a lot of chemicals being used where you've got the risk of inhaling the fumes, etc., this document will need to be customised to talk about when and where these inspections can take place. It might be after hours, it might be during a lunchtime where they've been shut down, it might be once a month on a Sunday. Whenever you can get in there to make sure that you're not actually putting yourself at further risk by undertaking the risk inspection, if that makes sense. The second document you have here is the environmental policy. Environment and work health and safety go hand in hand these days because everything you do, you need to make sure that you are not placing anything further at risk to the actual environment. This is quite common with things like hazardous substances. We had a case a while back where we had a client who was taking the chemicals out of their factory so that they couldn't cause an inhalation or a fire hazard to the people within the factory, but they'll just place them in the car park. Now because they're in the car park, they were getting wet, and the Tinsard Russell, which was actually releasing those chemicals into the environment. So the environmental policy talks about making sure that you are anything that you're doing in the risk management process is actually is incorporating the environmental concerns into those processes as well. And the third one is the electrical safety policy. It is, quite obvious in its title. It talks about how you are going to make sure that you are keeping a track of any electrical risks that you have involved there. In a nutshell, it basically talks about making sure that you are using qualified electricians for any electrical work that's being done. You're getting qualified electricians to come in and check your equipment. You're getting basically no electrical works is done without the inclusion of a qualified electrician, is in a nutshell, if that's what that covers. Very important you read through it, especially if you're in an area where there is a lot of electrical equipment, and that includes offices where you've got computers and servers and all that sort of stuff. Because if you're in an office environment, if you think about it and you lose your server, the risk to your company is not just the safety risk, but it's actually quite significant risk to, as in lost money in part of your disaster recovery processes if you are not undertaking this properly. So there are your 3 policies: your electrical safety, your environmental policy and your inspection procedure. As usual, any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out, and I hope you enjoy your day. Thanks a lot. Bye.